Good to see everybody. I'll start with the game. I thought it was a great team win in what was a tremendous atmosphere. I'll say that to kick this off. Just our fans, the atmosphere in the stadium, the Skol chants. It was just an awesome environment. We talked about it, especially to a lot of these newer guys. I remember my first experience, at U.S. Bank. Just, you don't realize how loud it is until you're in there. We tried to convey that message to the guys who'd never play there, and within one, after the first series, like, man, it's loud out here. So, just nothing but big shout out to our fans, the people at the stadium. Kind of putting that all together. It's a great atmosphere, and look forward to being back there next week. I thought the guys played great, really, and just the whole week of preparation. We talked about that last week, really kind of building off of week one. We had good meetings, good walkthroughs, good practice. That really showed up on Sunday. I thought it was a physical game. I thought they played, thought the 49ers played physical. I thought we played physical. I thought our guys made a lot of plays out there. I thought we played as a group, as a unit, as a team. We talk about that all the time. We play team defense. I don't know who's going to make the play. And what I like to see is a number of guys making plays. It's not a one-man show, and that's what we're getting. So I was excited to see that. So. These first few weeks of the season, it's all a build. So we're just trying to string good days together. And that was the message yesterday. That we just got to keep our head down and keep working and keep improving and keep getting better. So off to a good start, and we just got to keep it, do what we've been doing, and even a little more, just to keep it going.
Hey, Brian, other than the crowd noise, why do you think the plan was so successful on third down and fourth down, some of those key spots?
Players win games. So just, their execution, in those critical situations. San Fran's got, as you know, a lot of, very good players, great scheme. I thought our guys just, executed in those situations a little better than they did, and, got ourselves off the field on third down, made some critical stops on fourth down, and guys just made plays, and there's a lot that goes into it, some pre-snap movement to, post-snap communication to, guys trusting that a guy's going to cut another player if he's got him he's cutting a route and getting into the next window. There's all these things that go into, a snap, especially a critical snap on third down, knowing where their go-to guys are, and then the pass rush was a big part of that, a major part of that. And I think, collectively as a group, I think those guys are doing a really nice job of working together, in a lot of ways taking what the offense gives us and trying to take advantage of, the protection if that's the case, and sometimes just winning one-on-ones.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Pat Jones, too. It seemed like he made a number of plays in those spots.
Oh, yeah.
Where have you seen his development grow the most?
I think that was, he played lights out, just from his physicality, in the run game on early downs. I know, it's the sacks that everyone talks about. Those are great, but, there's a lot of other, plays on early downs. He had a huge third down run stop. He was physical. He did a lot of nice things. And, 2 sacks on top of it, But, it's those other snaps that I'm really looking at. I like the sacks, too. Don't get me wrong. But, he did a lot of really good things. And a lot of guys played well. But, yeah, to point out Pat, I think that's certainly, one guy who really played well.
Brian, what does having a corner with Stephon Gilmore's experience and just your history with him do for you as you're constructing coverages, kind of building a game plan there?
Yeah, I think week to week, do we want to travel with this receiver? It just allows us to, be as creative and opens up the playbook really across the board as far as the things we would like to do. And I think Steph's playing well. I think he's been tight in coverage. They made some, tough contested catches the other day, whether it was Debo or Ayuk or Kittle, which, that's what you expect from good players, and we expect that this week coming up, from Houston. But yeah, Steph's, obviously I've got some history with him, but he allows us to really have the entire playbook. You want to play man, we play man, we play zone, we play zone. But he's got instincts, he's got smarts, experience. Some things you really can't measure. He's brought a lot to the group already, just from that standpoint. Just, hey, this is how we game plan. We got to be alert for X, Y, Z, and he's been great.
Brian, as you look back on all the names you guys brought in this offseason, how much influence did you have in those decisions, and what was it like to watch it all kind of come together on the first couple of days of free agency?
Yeah, Dane, I think going back to, free agency or the end of a season, I think, for me, we take a self-scout of the entire group, and then you kind of build out a vision of what based on what you did last year, what you're going to have back. You kind of build out this vision of what you would like your team, your defense to look like. So myself, in conjunction with, our defensive staff, KO's involved in that, obviously. We bring that vision to the personnel guys, to Kwesi and his staff. And, obviously they've got, a vision of their own. And, we just kind of collaborate. And, hey, if we had a guy like Ginkle, we'd be able to do this, this, and this. If we had a guy like Cashman, we could do this, this, and this. If we had a guy like Ginkle and Cashman together, we could do this, this, and this. And there's other names that show up. And it's kind of not a grocery list, but and look, there's other factors, salary cap and, budgets and things like that. And we've got to work within those parameters. But, there's certainly a vision early on. So to watch it kind of, come to life has been pretty cool. And but it's still early, and we still got to continue to build. But as far as going back and kind of talking about how that all came about, myself, the staff, it's really a collaborative effort as far as a vision for what we want to look like defensively, which is a little different than a lot of other groups, but we find a way to make it work. And I think 2 games in, it's I think we're still kind of finding our way, finding our footing, and hopefully we continue to improve and get better.
Brian, what has Blake Cashman brought that maybe you did not know of, or has he just been everything you thought he would be?
I got a quick story about Blake. So his college coach, Mike Sherrills, was at the U with him. So his daughters and my daughter in the same class. So I got to know Mike that way. This is, October or November of last year. He's like, we end up hanging out together with the daughters. And he's like, Blake Cashman, I had him at the U, man. He was the best guy we had. And I didn't know much about Blake at that point, and that's when I turned the tape on. And he was right. So, he's brought a lot to the team. He's obviously smart. He's got leadership. I think if there's something that, I guess it's the pass rush that, he's really done a good job against backs, working games. And then you never really know how a guy is, working with other players until you get him, and he's phenomenal from that standpoint. Just as far as getting guys on the same page, helping guys, where he can help. He's big on where's my help and how can I help somebody else, which is a big part of team defense. We talk about that a lot. So he's done a fantastic job of that so far. But yeah, I'm excited to have him. Excited to continue working with him. He's a great teammate. You certainly see that. And he's an EP guy, so you can't knock anyone from Eden Prairie. So obviously I live in Eden Prairie. So
When you hear that from Cheryl, do you kind of file that away for knowing, hey, this guy's gonna be a free agent?
it was just such a random conversation. So I do a little digging, and I find out he's going to be a free agent this upcoming free agency period, and I kind of have my eye on him from that point on. You never know what's going to happen in those in those scenarios. Maybe he resigns. He had a solid year last year, so I figured he'd resign. He's available, and now he's here. So. Yeah, I mean that's kind of not normally, but that happens. You have a conversation with somebody, you don't know somebody all that well, but it's someone who has no agenda or anything like that. It's just former coach, knows him personally, speaks highly of him. The girls are playing together. It sounds great. You look him up and there he is. So.
You mentioned his ability in stunts games. Are you guys doing more of that this year? And if so, why? What is kind of the thought process in using more of those?
I think it's just an opportunity to maybe take advantage of space that the offense gives us. If it presents itself, it doesn't always present itself. So there's a little bit of you can't really call, hey, run that, because you just don't know what the protection is going to be. You don't know if there's but if it presents itself and the players can call it on the field, then you got an opportunity. In a loud stadium, it's hard to get that called. So I think again, Blake got it called a couple times in the game and did a nice job with it. But you got to hear the call. We got to have some other guys in order to execute that. A lot of things got to go right. You got to see it. You got to everything's got to hit, and I think he's got a good feel for some of those things. It's not one of those where I can call it because I have no idea they've got to see it. So I try to give those guys the autonomy, the freedom to make those calls when they happen, or else there's no way. I don't have a crystal ball. But that's look, it's not my defense, it's theirs. I tell them that all the time. So they make it come to life. They have the freedom to check it, not check it. Oftentimes we have some conversations about why they checked this or why they didn't check this, but that's part of it too.
Brian, how common is that, giving the players an autonomy into something like that?
I mean, I can only speak for my experience or my experiences. Where I've been, where I think it's something that if you have the right guys, that can understand the situations, understand, when, why, and how, then you let them do it. If you don't, sometimes you don't. And in those situations, you just, hey, we're just gonna run this, Otherwise, you're checking blitzes when you should be covering, and vice versa, or it can get a little hairy if you don't have the right guys, or they're not comfortable with it. Sometimes it slows the player down too, and that's a big part of it. And again, as a coach, you got to kind of assess that. If I try to put another brick on this player, will it slow him down and he'll miss a play that he normally makes? Those are kind of assessments we have to make as coaches. And I think, look, we got a good staff. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, between Saravo and Durante and Pet, there's, I think, several future coordinators in there. So, I mean, that's part of the conversation. Can we handle this? Can he handle this? If he can, let's do it. If he can't, let's not do it. That's a conversation we're having, right now, about, the Texans coming up, which is a major challenge.
What do you see when you watch C.J. Stroud?
I mean, I think he's in, up and coming, rising, star. Yeah, I mean, big arm talent, It's hard to bring down. Pocket presence, command of the offense, quarterback mobility, but he keeps his eyes downfield and can make explosive plays down the field. They got a receiver after receiver after receiver after receiver. Yeah, it's just Diggs, Dell, Nico Collins. I mean, it's just receiver after receiver. It's a great scheme, similar to one we just saw last week with Bobby. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly going to be a tough challenge. Good backs, tight ends are good, O-line's good. This is similar conversation to last week. Huge challenge, for sure.
You've coached under kind of a wide range of personalities and styles.
Yeah.
How does Kevin command a room or a sideline or in his way?
Yeah, I mean, KO is KO's got great command of any room he walks into. I think he's got he's viewed as this great human being, nice guy, but he's got a little bit of a dark side, in the football realm, and I like it, So, I like when that side comes out, and he's super competitive, and wants to win. Wants the techniques and fundamentals to be, the way they need to be. Wants the execution a certain way. And when it's not, he'll let you know about it, as he should. And he's got high standards and expectations for, everyone in his building. I appreciate that because, I have high expectations and standards for myself. And I have high expectations and standards for our players, and so we're on the same page from that standpoint. And maybe dark side is not the right thing to say, but, when he's not happy, and you do your best to make it right. So, he does a great job. He's got great command of the team, the organization, offense, defense, special teams. I mean, he's look. You got to know how to push the right buttons in that when you're in that seat, and it's you got to know when to push, when to pull back, and I think he's got a great feel for that. And I think he's done a great job.
Brian, going back to that collaboration in roster construction, like how rare is that for like a defensive staff to have so much input, or maybe it is? And how much did you appreciate just the back and forth with Quasi and his staff?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's much appreciated. It's really more of a shared vision, I would say. So I mean, it's definitely appreciated. I think in a lot of buildings, it's like that, or the buildings I've been in have been like that. And I think in anything, you got to have as many people on the same page as possible to move in the direction you want to move into, and I think that's the case here. And look, we got to keep improving. We got to keep our foot on the gas. Keep practicing the right way, meeting the right way, in order to put ourselves in position to get the results we're looking for. And that's a hard thing to do in this league because everyone's doing that. But when you have that type of alignment, to me, this is just my opinion, but it puts you in the best possible position.
Brian, when it comes to Jihad Ward rushing over the interior, was that something that you kind of identified? Because looking at my nerdy numbers here from last year, it doesn't look like he did that a lot.
Yeah.
As much as being on the outside. So was that something that you kind of spotted with him during camp or when you brought him in, or did you kind of have that plan before?
Matt, he's done that in the past, quite a bit. Like last year, it wasn't as much. I think the Giants had some injuries, so he ended up playing on the edge quite a bit. He can do that, but he's had a lot of experience, on the interior, and he's a very good player, and he's a lot of fun to be around. tell you that right now. He brings energy. He brings leadership, and he's just got always got a smile on his face. He's loved here. I'm so happy we have him, and he's a good player. You know, and he's done a great job for us on the interiors as far as the rush there. We probably got to get him out there a little bit more, because you look back and I'm going, ah, man, you know, it's only 17 snaps. We got to get him out there a little bit more. So he's done a nice job, and yeah, happy we have him.
A guy like him, like, obviously you want talented players, but like how important are vibes, like when you're constructing?
Very important. Yeah, I mean, very important. Look, this is as you know, a high stakes, high, anxiety, high pressure business. And every week, it's a battle. So, someone who lightens the mood, someone who, brings fun and energy and juice on a daily basis and always has a joke and is always looking to make somebody, smile or laugh. Like, that's, again, you can't put a number on that one, So he's been, great for our group, and I love having him. Thank you, guys.